I think there is something larger at play here.
Hi everyone. Today we have two very amazing entrepreneurs with us who are both pushing their love for food and dining in very different sectors. First, we have Supreet, the co founder and CEO of OneRare. Supreet left her fashion designing career and started to pursue her passion for food and technology to build the world's first metaverse called food based metaverse called OneRare. Uh, it's like a reward based farm wheel for blockchain where you can go and mint signature dishes for multiple celebrity chefs as well. And we also have Saransh with us, who's a celebrity chef who runs a very popular and successful restaurant in Mumbai. He was also a guest judge on the very popular Master Chef Australia, and he holds the Limca Book of World Records for one of the longest journeys by a chef in India as well. So, welcome to the show, guys. Excited to have you here. How are you guys doing?
Thank you so much for having us, Shash.
No, thank you so
Excited
much,
to be
Shash.
here.
Yeah, I think super excited to be here because it's one of those rare interviews that I do in this world of metaverse. I guess mostly I'm found in my kitchen.
Like I wanna start with you, Saransh. Like, uh, give a quick like journey of yours, how it has been since you left your college or studying, and then till now, like trying to get involved in a metaverse of food.
I really gravitate towards doing exciting things around food, and I think that's where One Rare sort of came in my journey after having done MasterChef Australia as a guest judge and having done like several TV shows. I realized that the next evolution for food has to be the metaverse.
Somebody like you getting into the NFT or the metaverse or the blockchain space is always exciting and inspiring to others as well. So I want to know like what do you like about the space? What are you learning? What did you learn and what excites you? What concerns you as well? Like I wanna understand that.
I think what the one thing that Supreet told me really stuck with me, that it can be a marriage, especially with food. You get this opportunity to blend the offline with online, which means, as you said, if people are on the blockchain and if they win, let's say, recipes or tokens on the One Rare platform, they can eventually encash them physically, let's say in this world. So I run a brand called Goila's Butter Chicken back here in Mumbai. So for me, how I think about this is that in the future, somebody could probably crack my butter chicken recipe or our tikka recipes or naan bomb recipes, and then they physically get to come to the store, probably get an experience where I come and cook with them, or we share that conversation IRL, which is in real life. So I think I love the fact that this can build a bridge between these two worlds, and I think food can do that. And food excites people enough to move out of their comfort zone, right? Like I'm also mostly stationed out of my home, and sometimes I also work a lot virtually. But if I want something digitally that told me that I'm going to get a great meal with a great chef, I would step out, share from the sheer fact because of a love of food. And I also feel it's a fabulous place to do product launches and to like do specials because it's literally exploring the unknown. And I would like to be ahead on this. I really got that feeling while speaking with Supreet that if I do this, I'll be one of the first few chefs to be stepping into this realm or category. And funnily enough, I was invited to the launch of Meta's first office in Gurgaon a couple of months back. And that happened because they saw me connecting with One Rare. So they're like, it seems like you are one of the first few chefs who understand what's going around.
Are you doing anything in the Web3 side? Like I want to know like are you a crypto investor? Do you have Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything?
I do have a very, very small part of a Bitcoin. I do not own one single Bitcoin. I would aspire to own a full Bitcoin someday. I am invested 50% of my crypto investment is Bitcoin. The other 50% is a mixed portfolio. A few are riskier. I have Algo on my profile. I have Cardano on my profile. I have about 25% of that leftover 50% is Ethereum. And I'm, of course, a little tiny bit in One Rare as well.
That's fantastic. So I think you have a very well rounded portfolio of layer one protocols. That's cool. I think being 75% in Bitcoin plus Ethereum is fantastic. And then 25% on slightly riskier ones are great. So I want to now get to Supreet, right? Like what got you into building like this foodverse sort of a thing and get like foodpreneurs like Saransh to get involved with your ecosystem and all. Like give a brief on your journey.
Yeah, I think if Saransh is surprised to land in the metaverse, I think I am more surprised about myself landing into food because I come from a design background, and I think food was just our passion point for me and Gaurav, my co-founder and husband. It was a passion that we love. We love traveling the world, trying local food. I think our strongest memories of a place are food associated. So if you ask us what we did there, we would tell you what food we ate there. So that was how we felt about it. But I think it was this organic process that was probably meant to happen because NFTs was the first time it felt like something creative was happening in the industry. Up till then, crypto was, something that people just equated to the stock market. So they're like, oh, we can play around with crypto the way we play in stocks. And nobody was really understanding blockchain as a technology. I can say that even for myself, the way the articles on blockchain come out, they're so daunting that I would feel stupid while reading the first para, and then I don't want to acknowledge I'm not a smart person or something, right? So I'll be like, I don't want to do this. So I think NFTs was the first time it felt like, oh, something creative and fun is happening. And that's when we came up with OneRare, being about food, because I think food is just so relatable. It's something that if all of us sitting at home think about our favorite dish, we know the taste of it. There's a recall value. We know we've all cooked it during the pandemic. So we felt food could be a very inclusive topic to begin versus all the, first person shooter games or the kind of average blockchain game that was being built for a very particular male audience back then.
Right.
So that was kind of how we started in food. And then, of course, like we said, it's been a journey to start as just a simple NFT project into realizing that we can work with chefs like Saransh, we can bring the global food and beverage industry to Web3, create virtual restaurants for them, bring them their first NFT loyalty clubs, and it's just been growing every month for us. So it's been fantastic to interact with chefs like Saransh because they're so creative in their kitchens, and being the medium to bring that creativity to Web3 it's quite exciting for us.
Yeah, that's exactly the right approach to do this because at the end of the day, if you look at blockchain technology, essentially what it does is allow people to own, possess, and transfer digital items, right? Like people complicate it bit too much, but it's essentially being able to, for the first time, own something which is digital. And that's all that the blockchain does to Web 2 in its way, right?
Absolutely right, because if the industry has to grow, it needs an adoption, right? You can't have a very small segment of the world being interested in blockchain and then keeping it in an exclusive club. Like, if you want it to be an industry, it cannot be exclusive. It has to have the women, it has to have the kids, it has to have everybody because it's a technology. It's not a over 18 only kind of speculation industry. It's a lot more. And I think as we go forward for the next decade, the technology will be used, like you said, initially to market and gradually to monetize every single individual, every single business.
So, with this journey that you're having, Supreet, like in terms of challenges and conversions and problems that you're facing, right? Like, what are some of the key issues that you're facing? Let's start with technology first.
So I think with regards to technology, it is much harder to build than to say what you want to build. That has kind of been the story for us as well as the other projects around us, that we want to build a lot. The expectation from the Web2 partners, who we work with is also a lot, to build, to come out faster with the product or output. But I think the amount of talent and the difficulty of building on blockchain is a lot more than anticipated. So I think with regards to technology, just what we wish to build, getting that out to market takes a bit longer than expected.
And Saransh, for you, like I see that your passion is there in the whole blockchain side, right? Like you have been investing, like you're spending your time to understand what potential challenges do you see, like some of the issues that you see besides, like of course people not understanding it, but in terms of like you've been involved with OneRare as well. So yeah.
I think what I, as a not just as a chef, but as a investor myself, I think what I feel is, especially residing in India, I think of course policies for me, I feel are still unclear as to the Web3 world and crypto. It's easier to invest in a mutual fund or in stocks. They primarily, I think, it's still difficult to invest yourself as an investor in this sector in India, particularly right now, and especially if I had to explore more riskier options, or if I had to, do a bit of trading, all of that sort of becomes. I think it's difficult. Then you have to really like find different channels to invest. So I think there needs to be some growth on that sector as well, where we could be more enabled. I know last year a lot of movement had happened in this sector here in India, but I think after that there have been policy changes, so it's become slightly more trickier as an investor. So that's one of my sort of challenges that I foresee. I think the other is awareness of even my peers. Like when I speak to my friends and if I ask them, have you invested any money? What do you know about Web3? So they all know it from the outside. I think that fear of deep diving into it and being like, okay, this is supposed to be a specialized person's job, or somebody who's only in the financial sector can understand this. I think there's a big misconception there. If I can understand it, I really feel anyone can, because I've just seen YouTube videos and I've spoken to friends. That's all it takes. Podcasts are in trend these days, so there are so many podcasts that really break it down for you. And Shash, you already broke it down for us, saying that it's actually not that complicated when you really start deep diving into it.
And I think it's the same as, how India took to Paytm in a month after demonetization. Like it was just one of those things. So it's all about just making that bridge. Of course, the Metamask wallet does need to become a bit more user friendly in terms of thinking of that first time user. But I think it's a very small bridge to cross at this point of time. And it'll just take that one step or one dramatic global change to make that happen.
Like last year my CA was like, you've invested this money in like 5 different places, can you give me a balance sheet? And I told him, I am not going to get a balance sheet out of any of the wallets that I use. So it was tricky to even bring my CA up to speed on these
Actually, I would
investments.
I would say it's fairly easy though. Like if you want to
Yeah.
get a balance sheet out of a wallet, it's just one
Hmm.
click. Like if you send me your wallet address, I can give you your balance sheet. So like in terms of what you're building, Supreet, like I think I had seen a snippet about a potential 3D world in which people could experience a restaurant, etc. as well. So, what I want to know a bit more from your end in terms of brand partnerships, chef partnerships, community engagements, like what's exciting at your end and what should people be looking forward to?
So I think, like I said, we started as an NFT project, when we started working with chefs to bring their first NFT out. And now the idea is expanding as we go forward. And we see this as an opportunity to create something which actually, like he said, marries the physical and the digital world, because food is that interesting topic where you can come and hang the way we are hanging right now in a space. And then all of us could also have a restaurant delivering to us a real meal that we constructed, which we could have in this moment. So I think it's a very interesting duality of this space. So going forward, we're actually going to be bringing out virtual restaurants like the Goila butter chicken virtual restaurant, so people can go in, they can actually see the dishes they want to order, they can customize their order, they can order directly online without an aggregator service needed, so all the profits go directly to the business. Also, I think in the next 3 years, we will see the entire content creation process also turn to a bit more 3D angle. We've seen the growth of Instagram and Facebook. So I think the entire 3D content creation is going to be the first step forward as well. And I think the whole concept being that, look, it's so powerful that maybe in 5 years, Saransh will be able to sell his franchisee model via NFTs. He can actually use an NFT to issue his franchisees anywhere in the world. And because all the Web3 audiences that are global are looking at Saransh and his food today, he is now going to be known not just in India for the Goila butter chicken, but across the world. So tomorrow, let's say he develops a fan base all the way in Costa Rica, and they really, really want the food in reality. So he can actually set up a franchisee model there with his NFTs.
In terms of your NFTs are now accessible globally 24/7, and interactions with them within the metaverse side is easier. But Saransh, you run a restaurant as well, right? I want to know some practical challenges that you might have if I come to your restaurant with an NFT and say, hey, like you need to give me 50% discount that you promised. Will your staff be able to authenticate it or give it to me? It could just be a JPEG. How will you check it?
So I think our so I run a cloud kitchen brand. So we are very very sort of digitally enabled.
Right.
I think because cloud kitchen heavily depends on technology, whether it's servicing the consumer or fulfilling orders or tracking delivery riders, how far have they reached. So I think I feel it's going to be not very difficult because we are already a tech enabled food venture.
And we
So
are building an app that will allow people to swap their NFTs with just a simple app download. So I think as the technology partners for that, that is our aim, to give or create something so simple that it becomes easy for the staff to train to as well.
So, like what you're talking about, Saransh, seems like coming from a very modern restaurateur. Uh, is
yeah.
this kind of the new wave of people with the food side of things? Because food is quite traditional as an
Yeah.
industry, right? Like it's very hard to get McDonald's to think about doing this, or McDonald's might still be a little bigger, but most of the other established so called restaurants might not be willing to change that easily. Will they have
I
to at some point? Yeah.
they will 100% have to. I think a lot of our F&B world has realized that technology is important, especially with the pandemic, because all the business shift happened to digital assets. So what that has done is that every restaurant, even let's say people of my dad's age or dad's friends who were running restaurants, they are all digitally enabled. They've digitally enabled their restaurants because they've realized, what if the pandemic comes back? What will happen to us then? So I think the pandemic has pushed this agenda, to say so, really, really fast, where the fear of losing customers and being behind in the business is real. So I think it would be safe to say that any modern restaurateur, whether they are digitally sound or not, aspires to be here. It is very very real, and you're going to see a lot of restaurateurs saying yes to this. They will 100% say yes to an NFT, 100% say yes to having a virtual restaurant, because they realize that there is revenue there and there is an audience there, and they would not want to miss out.
Awesome. In terms of payments, do you intend to take payments in ETH, Bitcoin, or OneRare at any point?
100%, 100%. We will get there. In fact, at GBC, we are very, very quickly expanding. Our mission plan looks like 100 stores in the next 2 years. So we are currently at 24, out of which 18 we have opened this year. So for us, the next 3 years are years of growth. And one of the key pillars on my agenda is that how do we enable the brand in Web3 fully, and how can we, of course, start accepting payments in blockchain format as well.
For us, such an interesting project to be on, because we have a lot of friends in Web3 who are doing like these tech heavy projects, and we get to come every day and talk about golgappe and butter chicken, look at good art, talk to good people, people that we've been fans of from seeing them on TV, from following their recipes in the pandemic. So I feel quite blessed that we are in a space that we can actually bring an old industry into a new space. And yeah, like Saran said, today, maybe 10 years ago, the brands were looking at Instagram as a fad. But today, we've seen home chefs create their entire restaurant empire based on their popularity. So the metaverse is going to do that again. And if a brand is missing out on that right now, having seen the repercussions of missing out on it the last time, on them. But I think early movers like Saransh will definitely benefit from being here.
And just to reiterate what Supreet said, my brand was born on Instagram. And today we intend to open 100 stores with a brand that was born on Instagram. So if that's a possibility, I'm pretty sure brands will now be born in the metaverse, and they are the ones who will actually be relevant 10 years down the line.